Exercise number 1, short passages from your reading comprehension. So let us start with question number 1. I'm going to read the question, the passage, then we'll read the question and we'll see how we can answer it. The average life expectancy for the United States population as a whole is 73.9 years, but children born in Hawaii will live an average of 77 years, and those born in Louisiana 71.7 years. If a newlywed couple from Louisiana were to begin their family in Hawaii, therefore, their children would be expected to live longer than would be the case if the family remained in Louisiana. So what are the facts before us? Premise number 1 is, what's the average life expectancy for the people of United States? It is 73.9 years. And for children who are born in Hawaii, what's the average lifespan? 77 years. And for those born in Louisiana, it is 71.7 years. So as you can see, Louisiana lifespan, average life expectancy is much lesser than that of Hawaii. So based on these statistical facts, the argument is concluding if a newlywed married couple were to go from Louisiana to Hawaii, the conclusion reached is, therefore the children would be expected to live longer than would be the case if the family remained in Louisiana. Now the question, which of the following, if true, would most seriously weaken the conclusion drawn in the passage? Now, how do we weaken an argument? I said the most effective way of weakening an argument is to attack the assumption, is to show the assumption is false. Now the facts are there. The life expectancy in Louisiana is much lesser than the life expectancy in Hawaii. Therefore, by moving from Louisiana to Hawaii, the argument is speculating that the couple and their children will have a longer lifespan. But to come to that conclusion, what has been assumed, what has been taken for granted about Hawaii, what has been taken for granted about Louisiana? First of all, the assumption is that Hawaii must be having something that leads to longer life. So what kind of something do you think it should be? If you were to live in Hyderabad, which is polluted, and if you were to move from here and go away to a place which is very, very clean, let us say you go to a sea coast, and you remain there, then what will happen? If you were to settle down there, definitely your health will improve and your lifespan might definitely increase. So the speculation here is that if you move from Louisiana and go to Hawaii, you will automatically have a longer lifespan. Then obviously that speculation or that conclusion is based on the assumption that Hawaii must be having some external conditions. What external conditions? Environmental conditions that could be conducive to a longer life. That means any fact that says that Hawaii's environmental conditions are not as good as Louisiana or on par with Louisiana would spoil the argument's conclusion, would harm the argument's conclusion. Or any additional information that casts doubt on the assumption will definitely weaken the argument's conclusion. Now let's look at the answers. Let's look at the answers. So what are the two assumptions we have? The most important assumption that is made by this argument is that Hawaii living conditions, here it could most probably be environmental living conditions are better than those in Louisiana. This is the assumption. So any answer that shows this assumption to be false can be weakening it. But I told you one more way in which one can weaken the argument is not only to prove this assumption to be false, by giving any additional information that casts doubt on the conclusion, you can also weaken the argument. Now let's see if this argument's answer options does any of these. A says, insurance company statisticians do not believe that moving to Hawaii will significantly lengthen the average Louisiana's life. Now, you know, insurance company statisticians, they do not believe. But on what basis? We are not given any kind of proof. So A can be ruled out as such. The governor of Louisiana has falsely alleged that statistics for his state are inaccurate. Falsely alleged, that means what he's saying himself is false. Therefore, this does not weaken. Now, look at what option C says. The longevity ascribed to Hawaii's current population is attributable mostly to genetically determined factors. Now, what are you assuming as to why the people of Hawaii have a longer lifespan? Because their living conditions are better than those of Louisiana. But here, what does this option C tell us as a reason why people have a longer life in Hawaii? Not because of environmental conditions, but because of genetical factors. Now, genetical factors will not affect a couple who's moving from Louisiana to Hawaii. The children born of this couple will not have any benefit from genetic traits. You got that? So C, by additionally adding some information to the existing facts, effectively weakens the argument's conclusion. So what's our answer? The answer has to be C.